What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Big Nick Energy YouTube channel. Welcome in from Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, basically everywhere. If you are watching from Instagram, though, I unfortunately can't see your comments. So if you're on Instagram, head over to our YouTube channel, Big Nick Energy, and when you comment here, I'll be able to see it. But tonight, the Knicks got the win over the Houston Rockets, 109-94. This was a pretty good win, and as the title of this live stream says, Jalen Brunson is back. He surely was tonight, and he had a great game from missing the past two. Tonight he had 1 second, guys. Tonight he was back from his injury and he just played phenomenal. He had 20 points in the second half, made some huge shots down the stretch, and you can't really ask anything more from him. I mean, he played like the Jalen Brunson we all know plays. And it's really great to have him back because those two games, especially the last game against the Magic without him, were pretty brutal. You can definitely tell that without him, the Knicks tend to struggle, especially Julius Randle without Jalen Brunson by his side. He struggles, and with Jalen Brunson back, it definitely puts relieves Randle of a lot of pressure that's usually on him. And they both played phenomenal. Tonight, Brunson had 30 points. He was 11 for 21 from the field, 4 for 9 from the three-point line. So 4 threes right there. He had his three-pointers unlocked tonight. He had 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and yeah, that's pretty much his stat line right there. Huge buckets down the stretch, though. A lot of big buckets in that fourth quarter that pretty much sealed the deal for the Knicks tonight. And you love to see that. You love to see the Knicks bounce back, especially after having a pretty bad loss on Monday against the Magic. So to bounce back and hit those buckets in the fourth quarter when you need to hit them to close out the game, that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what Brunson did, and it truly helped. But he wasn't only Nick with the knack tonight. Tonight, Julius Randle also had a great game. He had 31 points, 11 for 19 from the field, 4 for 8 from the three-point line. So he was also feeling it from the three-point line as well, which is kind of a little bit of a rare sighting from him. We don't usually see him shoot that many or make that many threes anymore this season, but tonight he was 4 for 8, and he also had 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 block. So great game from both of our stars right there, and pretty good bounce back game from him. As I was just mentioning, against the Magic, he struggled, but he definitely bounced back and was a big reason why we won tonight. And along with Brunson and Randle showing out, we actually got a pretty good showing from OG Anunoby, who had 15 tonight, was 5 for 10 from the field, 2 for 5 from the three-point line, and he had 3 free throws. So along with the points there, he had 5 rebounds and 4 steals. That's crazy. We know he's a defensive specialist. We know that. We know he's a beast on that end of the court. So he got the 4 steals tonight and 1 block. His defensive skills are showing in the box score. Some nights they don't necessarily show, but tonight you can definitely tell. And if watching the game, he was an absolute beast on that end and really helping out the Knicks on the defensive side. So I was really impressed by what I saw from him. Not only doing what he usually does, which is defending really well, helping on the weak side and all of that, but he also put up points tonight. He put up 15, and he did it in an efficient way again. I mean, he's a pretty efficient player. Before he got traded here, we all know he wasn't going to take too many shots, but he was going to be efficient with it. So that's exactly what he did. 5 for 10 right there is 50%. 2 for 5 from the three-point line. Still pretty good. He only took 10 shots, but he was efficient with it and got 15 points out of it. So I was really impressed from OG's offensive game tonight. I would definitely love to see more of that. He doesn't have to necessarily have a 20-point game like every night, or I would just love to see something like this, a 15-point game where he's shooting three-pointers, shooting from the field, and he's doing his thing on the defensive end as well. Love to see that. Along with those 3 Knicks we've just mentioned, DiVincenzo had a quiet night. He did struggle a little bit. In 19 minutes, he only had 5 points and was 2 for 7 from the field, 1 for 4 from the three-point line. We know DiVincenzo has been great, especially from the three-point line, but tonight wasn't his night, and he struggled. straight up 1 for 4 from the 3-point line. I'm glad he didn't keep taking threes though, knowing that he was struggling. So, but still, we got the win tonight, and even though he only had 5 points, he still made an impact on the defensive end. Still playing his role there. And the last starter to talk about is Hartenstein, who of course always does his thing. I mean, he's really been an anchor for us ever since Mitchell Robinson has went down. He's stepped up, and he's been doing his thing pretty much on a nightly basis every game. 11 rebounds for him tonight, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks, along with 7 points. So impressive showing by Hartenstein once again. It still amazes me that he's able to keep up and be consistent with pretty much every number, with the rebounds, the points, the assists. Underrated passer. When your starting center is getting 5 assists, I think we should be grateful, and we should be lucky about it. We should be very grateful for it. Going on to the bench, didn't have a lot of bench players score tonight, but one bench player definitely did step up for the Knicks tonight and provided a big spark, which he truly needed and this team needed. Josh Hart tonight had 10 points in 30 minutes off the bench. He was 5 for 11 from the field and 0 for 2 from the 3-point line, but he had 14 rebounds in total, which I believe is his season high. Have to double check that. But 14 rebounds is just wild. 14 rebounds off the bench from your guard, not your backup center, your guard. You're getting that from your backup guard, and that's completely wild. But we know that's what Josh Hart does. When we traded for him last season, he had a long stretch of games where he was grabbing 10 plus rebounds a game, and he's also had similar games this season where he's grabbed 10 plus. So we know Josh Hart is like this, and you love to see him have games like this where he's able to pretty much do a little bit of everything between the rebounds and the points and defend really well. So I'm really impressed by his showing tonight, and especially because he's been struggling a little bit. We all know that he hasn't been playing the best, and especially from the offensive end, he hasn't really been able to score. So a lot of fans, including me, have been on him for it. We just really need more from our bench, and we got it tonight with him. 10 points off the bench and 14 rebounds. Not much more you can ask for. A lot of people were criticizing him, and I just said myself, but I definitely think it was warranted because we weren't getting a lot of production from him. Rebounds are great, but it's only so much that rebounds can do for you, especially when you're down a scorer off the bench like Immanuel Quickley. You need points, so I'm really glad he provided some points tonight, and hopefully he can keep it up and start now a really good stretch for him. We're going to be home for the rest of the month, basically, and hopefully he can get in a nice groove. See some comments coming in. Milk Money said 14 boards for a guard is crazy. It really is. But I'm not that surprised. I think I was surprised the first time it happened last season when we traded for him. But we know this is Josh Hart. That's what he does. He's done it a few times this season. Not too many times, but again, we've seen it before. So it's not that crazy as a Knicks fan to see it. But in general, it's still wild. Nature and Sports said Gilbert Arenas is whack. Jalen Green, 15 points on 15 shots. Superstar, my ass. Yeah, I just tweeted about it too before I started the live stream. I compared the stats between Jalen Brunson and Jalen Green. He had 15 points and, like you said, on 15 shots. And Jalen Brunson was just phenomenal tonight. He had a 30-piece. He had 4 3-pointers, 7 assists, and he had 30 points on 21 shots. So he definitely did a lot more. And add that to the fact that he hit shots down the stretch that were very clutch for us and very key to winning this game. Hitting those shots in the fourth quarter, that's what really matters right there. And then we don't even have to bring up Gilbert anymore because, I don't know, he's not credible with what he said. Clearly tonight we had 2 better players between Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. So I'm not really gonna listen to his podcast or his watch his YouTube videos that much anymore. But speaking of the bench, I did mention Josh Hart had a pretty good game off the bench. Quentin Grimes also had, he was the other scorer off the bench, I shall say. He had 11 off the bench. He was 2 for 8 from the field, 2 for 6 from the three-point line. So he did struggle a little bit, I guess you would say, from the three-point line and the field. But 11 points off the bench still really helped us because no one else scored besides him and Josh Hart. He also got 17 minutes. I definitely would love to see more from Grimes, though. We all know that he can score the ball. We've seen it before, and we know he's a really good three-point shooter. I definitely think they need to look for him more. And also, I feel the same way about OG Anunoby. We definitely need to look for him more. I think that first half, he didn't get too many touches with the ball. The second half, they were looking for him more, and I like to see that. He should get more shots up. Just straight up, he needs to get more shots up because, he's in that starting rotation. He can hit the three ball pretty well from both corners, specifically the left corner. Shoots over 50% from there. And I also just want to see what else he can do with the ball besides shooting three-pointers. I want to see him shoot off the dribble, which he did a few times tonight. We saw him drive to the hoop. What's up, CP? Yeah, that was a pretty good win right there. I'm really glad we bounced back from Monday's loss. And both of our stars had great games between Randle and Brunson. I love it when the games end up going like that. CP said night and day difference the way Julius Randle plays with versus without Brunson. There's definitely a difference, and clearly he just when they're both playing together, it's a lot easier. Basketball seems simple, right? When Jalen Brunson is playing with Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson relieves the pressure off Randle. Simple as that. They definitely work really well together. They're a great duo, and they complement each other with their styles of play. And I definitely think Julius Randle needs Brunson. He needs his point guard to facilitate the offense, and we clearly saw that Monday. He struggled. There's been other times he struggled without Brunson, so I'm really glad Brunson is back to help out Randle and to help out the team get this win. Aaron said Knicks should have beat this team by 30. He also said they got too relaxed late in the game. I definitely think that, I agree. I thought we were going to win this game by more points instead of it being so close, especially it was super close in the first half. We never really pulled away. In the second half, we did. But we got the win, and I definitely think you're right. We should have beat them by more, but it's the NBA, and teams come out here to compete. Even the worst, I shall say the not the best teams in the league still come out there and compete. So it was a good fight they put up against the Knicks, and you could definitely say we relaxed late. We relaxed a little bit this game. We're a little bit lazy. I've been seeing patterns of that the last few games, laziness, especially starting the game. So I definitely want the Knicks to start off the games on a fast pace and start off energetic, because we've seen times where the Knicks weren't on a good pace and they got completely ran over in the first half of the game. Aaron said Randle cannot have varying body language between two games. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't watch the last game live. I was just watching the highlights against the Magic, so I didn't really see much. They didn't really show much of his body language from the Magic game. But we all know that he's had moments where his body language hasn't been the best, especially when the Knicks are losing. So I can definitely understand that if he did have bad body language on Monday. So it definitely does vary game to game. I would love if it could, be consistent with a positive body language and positive attitude. But at the end of the day, they're human. Like I can't keep going down on Randle for having a bad body language. I mean, there's only so many times I can mention it. I just have to wait for him to fix it. I have to wait for it to improve. Great show. Can't wait to come back on. Please reach out. Yes. Oh my God. I have not checked my messages. They've been all crazy lately, just because I've been starting something else up. But I will get back to you. Nature and Sports said Randall has varying body length. Oh wait, did I just go to that comment? Oh, you two both said the same thing. I guess similar. But yeah, we were just talking about his body language. It's definitely better when the Knicks are winning and when he has Jalen Brunson by his side. You can definitely tell he's frustrated when he doesn't and they're losing. He hopefully he works on it and he makes it better by the time playoffs come, because when we're in the playoffs, we don't want him to have a bad attitude and for his mental to be super bad. We only want the opposite. We want him to be positive and to be working through it. You have to be mental tough to be in the playoffs and, you know, get as far as that and get further. Between the bench, though, spoke about Grimes, spoke about Hart. McBride had no points tonight, so not the best game from McBride. He's had a few pretty great games, though, ever since the trade, and he's had to fill that backup role. He's had a few good games. Tonight, 0 points for him, 0 for 4 from the field, and 0 for 3 from the three-point line. But he only played 11 minutes, so mind you that he didn't play a lot of minutes tonight, because the starters got most of the minutes. I mean, Jalen Brunson played 37 minutes. OG Anunoby played 43 minutes. Hartenstein played 41. These starters are playing a lot of minutes. I'm scared they're all going to get burnt out. Kind of thought that's what happened to Brunson, with him missing the last 2 games. I thought he was a little burnt out and his body was hurting from all those minutes he's been playing. But I definitely think that McBride should get more minutes. I know he has 0 points tonight, but we've seen good things from him, and I expect more good things in the future. Precious Achiuwa played 6 minutes and had 0 points. Was 0 for 2 from the field, so he only took two shots. But he did grab 4 rebounds and 1 block. So his offensive skills are still questionable, I would say. We haven't really seen anything spectacular from him. But he does grab rebounds, which I like. But I would like to see him put some points up on the board. And I think he's still adjusting to this new team. A lot of Raptors fans have said he wasn't the best player. I think he got hurt last season, and ever since his injury, they said he wasn't the same. So we might have gotten not the best version of Precious, but I'm just hoping. I'm trying to stay hopeful that we can see better minutes from him. If not, though, I mean, let's find out if we could put him in a trade. I don't know. Because I definitely think the Knicks need to make another move if we're going to talk about trades. So if they are going to make another trade, attach Precious to that. Try to get something good in return. I did see that they were interested in trading Grimes. I saw a report saying that, which is really interesting because right now he's the only one of the only 2 players off the bench providing scoring. Tonight he was leading scorer off the bench, and if you trade Grimes, I'm curious if they're doing that to get another bench player or if they're doing it to get a starter like DeJounte Murray. In that case, our bench would be very, very questionable. Who would step up off the bench if Grimes is gone? I mean, Josh Hart, I don't expect him to do it on a nightly basis. Neither do I expect McBride to do it. So there's a lot of things we need to think about as fans, and hopefully the organization is thinking about it too. I definitely do want another move to be made, though. I think it's pretty clear at times that the Knicks do need a second shot creator, and especially games where you don't have Jalen Brunson, you don't have your star player. you do need someone else. And there's going to be games like that where your starting player is not playing, or your star player is not playing, or he's hurt, things like that. So having another star player, a third option, relieves the first two options of pressure. And I think that's something that we could have used in the playoffs last year. I mean, last year, the playoffs for, I would say, at least the Miami Heat series, let's just refer to that, is Jalen Brunson was the first option, and Julius Randle obviously was dealing with his injury, so he wasn't really a factor at all. RJ Barrett did step up, though. He had a pretty good playoff run. So there you have two options, and a third would have been really helpful right there, even if it was Emmanuel Quickly who stepped up. But it wasn't. He didn't step up, and we only had Jalen Brunson and RJ pretty much fighting for the Knicks. So I definitely think that we do need another scorer, another shot creator. And if you guys saw DeJounte Murray had a game winner tonight, I don't know, it's looking pretty good. Well, we'll see what happens, though, before the deadline. I think the deadline is February 8th. Let me check really quick. Deadline. No, it's in February. Yeah, it's February 8th. That's a Thursday. So they have until February 8th to make a move, which is pretty much, that's a lot of time from now. It's only January 17th, so you have a few more weeks to think. They have a few more weeks to think about it. And I think they're exploring options right now. They're interested in a few players. I think between DeJounte, Malcolm Brogdon. I even saw, I don't know if this was a rumor or if this was actual report, Alec Burks. You guys know about Burks. We had him on the team before. I think that's a pretty interesting choice too, because he's like a vet and he can provide scoring off the bench, and he could be cheap. So it's like you wonder, that could be pretty good. That could be something good for the team instead of getting someone super expensive. I also saw someone, I don't know which reporter was saying this. I saw it on Twitter somewhere, but they mentioned that the Knicks are probably not going to make another move before the deadline, but instead they're going to make a move this summer. So they're going to make the big moves this summer. And I don't really know how to feel about that, because it does make sense in a way. It definitely does make sense to get, other players will be available in the summer, and you definitely could have more options then, especially big name players. But right now, until the trade deadline, I think you're limited with your options, and not sure if the Knicks want to give up more assets that they have, more draft picks for someone right now when they could be giving it up for someone better in the summer, I guess you could say. So I'm still thinking about that, still wondering, because right now this team, I don't know if they could take you to the finals, but they could definitely take you to the second round, past the second round too, to the finals. I don't think we're there yet, especially with our bench right now. We still need a better bench and even a better backup center, because Precious Achua is not it. I'm sorry, but he's not it right now for us. So there's some gaps and holes we still need to fix before we can get there. And if no move is made by the deadline in February, I guess the moves will be made in the summer. I guess that's just a little disappointing to hear as a fan, because, we know we won't be able to make it to the finals this year. We know if we don't make another move to get another player, we don't have the biggest chances to get there. I mean, obviously getting OG helped. It was a step in the right direction, but we still need someone else. Still need to fill in those little pieces that we're missing. Pretty much summed up everyone from the box score, though. It was really interesting. I was looking at the team stats, and the Knicks had a 20-point lead at one point. I feel like I don't remember that. To me, it was, in the second half, they definitely pulled away, but the first half was pretty close. At halftime, they were leading 48-46, I believe. So that 20-point lead came in the second half, and They pretty much blew it because the Rockets came close. Luckily, they did hold it down and they hit those clutch shots in the fourth, so they were able to close it out and get that win. But we really need to work on holding on to our leads and not blowing them, because a 20-point lead should not be it shouldn't be blown, and we should be able to keep that and close out the game properly. And don't scare your fans because when you blow the lead, I know a lot of fans like me definitely have a little mini heart attack and just have anxiety thinking about the comeback the other team is about to do. What's up, Eric? What do you think about the game tonight? It was a pretty good win, I'd say. Great games by Randle and Brunson. Brunson continues to amaze me every time he plays. Every time. I mean, we've had him for over a year now, but he amazes me every time he hits a shot, especially if it's a tough shot. He does it, and I love to see it. He hit some pretty tough shots tonight, and he does it every game. A lot of people think he's small, and because of that, he can't be a great player. They're completely wrong, and he's showing everyone every night. Just because he's short, he's still hitting those tough buckets against huge players. And Brunson's definitely, proving to a lot of people that he should be respected. He's not the type of guy and not the type of player to publicly mention it. Publicly call out the people who have been calling out him for not being a superstar or not being the best player on the team. But he will let his game do the talking, and that's exactly what he's been doing. Really glad to have him back tonight. And after missing 2 games, he came back and had a 30-piece. So he's definitely back. He just stepped right into rhythm, basically. Usually, when players come back after missing a few games, they need a little bit of time to get back into rhythm, but he didn't need any time at all. So looking at the 3-point percentage here, the Knicks shot 35% from the 3-point line. They were 13 for 37, so 13 made threes is pretty good for us. I mean, I think our average is somewhere around that 14 or 15. I'm actually gonna look that up right now, just a little bit curious. Last time I heard, the Knicks were the average threes we were making was 13, I think. But while I look that up, the Rockets had, let's see what percent they had. They were 26% from the 3-point line, and they only made 8 threes. So they definitely struggled from the 3-point line. Better for us. And free throws, we missed 4 free throws, which isn't entirely bad. It's 81%, but we're getting there. I definitely think we're improving from the free throw line. Still, some games it's erratic and where we miss a lot, but I would definitely like to get our percentage up at least 80 every game. Rebounds, the Knicks grabbed more with 51 compared to the Rockets 38. I mean, we have a lot of players on this team that could grab rebounds, and a lot of rebounds between Isaiah Hartenstein, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, and even Dante DiVincenzo. He's skyrocketing a lot to get those rebounds like Josh Hart. Those 2 guards right there. So yeah, we definitely out-rebound a lot of teams, and we did tonight against the Rockets. Assists, pretty even between both teams. Steals were even. Rockets had more blocks. They were blocking a lot of our shots. It felt like that. Every time we would drive, it felt like we got blocked. But we had 5 as well. So total turnovers, the Knicks had 15 compared to the Rockets 10. And points in the paint were pretty even. Fast break points, Rockets had more. Fouls, the Knicks committed more fouls. Sometimes we don't play defense with our feet, as Clyde would say. Crazy thing is, Julius Randle, I think in the second quarter or the third quarter, he had 3 offensive fouls. which is wild. Like, for all of your fouls to be offensive fouls. He's very physical. We all know that. So I'm not entirely surprised that he got those offensive fouls because he's a physical beast out there. He will pretty much body anyone who's guarding him. And sometimes opposing players do a really good job at acting, and they like to flop a little bit. But Julius Randle's strong, and I think at times he definitely has to limit himself and know the boundaries of how far to push off or things like that. So we have to limit those. That was pretty interesting to hear tonight, though, on the broadcast that he had 3 offensive fouls. Let's see the next time. Oh, the Knicks play tomorrow night. I was just going to look up the next time the Knicks play. They are on a back-to-back tomorrow night at the Garden as well. We're going to play a lot of home games in the next stretch. The next 14 games, I think 12 of them will be at home. So this is going to be a pretty good stretch for the Knicks. Being at home is nice, especially because they've been on the road a lot this season. They've already done the West Coast trip, and it's nice to be at home. So tonight they'll face the Washington Wizards at 7:30 p.m., same time as today. That should be another win for us. Wizards haven't been too good this season, and when we played them before, we did win. So I'm expecting another win. But without further ado, I will begin to close out this. Let's see with this. Sorry, I just got a notification for something. I guess it's not streaming on Instagram anymore. Sorry if the Instagram stream didn't go as well. It says it ended here, but for those of you watching through YouTube and Twitter, I'll start to close out this one. And shout out to our website of merch. If you haven't checked it out yet, go ahead and check it out. It's up here on the banner above me or next to me. BigNickEnergy.com. Lots of merch for every player, even for Coach Tibbs. Go check it out. If there's not a lot of merch out there for OG Anunoby yet, and we already have shirts up for him. I love that. And thank you to everyone who tuned in. If you're not subscribed yet to the YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe. We try to do as much live post games after every game, so we can talk about the game. You can comment. We can talk about whatever Knicks, and yeah, appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. All the comments, and I hope you guys have a great night. I'll see you guys tomorrow after the Wizards game, 7:30 p.m. So just live stream should start somewhere around 10:30. See you guys then.